Reincarnation is something that Jewish tradition teaches. The purpose for reincarnation is that our soul needs to fulfill everything that God needs from us and wants from us. 613 commandments that are upon a Jew. Non-Jews is 7 Noahide laws that they have. But 613 commandments, which are like 613 components of the soul. And each component of the soul needs to be fulfilled. And if it's not fulfilled, then the soul or an element of that soul needs to return to fulfill its mandate. Now, what is it exactly that you need to fulfill? So there are two areas in our lives that we should pay attention to, all areas, but two in particular. That which is a natural inclination that I have something good to do, wonderful things that I have an inclination for, and where I really struggle. Both areas, God needs them. We pay attention to that, and we work on both to improve the area that I am better at, and where I'm really struggling, to recognize I got to work on that area too. That would be a great way to fulfill the purpose you were created for. Welcome to Tanya Today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zurich and Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We conclude today chapter 7. We spoke about Ashreinu Batoiv Chalkinu. How fortunate are we that our portion is a portion in God. And we all have a portion in God. That portion is the ray of light that illuminates from his essence, that ray of light is the will that he has that we fulfill his will, the 613 commandments. And each time we fulfill a commandment, that ray of life embraces us. That ray of light embraces us, infuses us, that ray of divinity. And that's something equal to all of us, because we all have the mitzvahs to fulfill. So it's all equal that this is something we need to do. And that is our portion. How privileged and pleasurable that should be. Recognition that a portion of God that we have, a light that imbues us in every mitzvah that we fulfill. Now we go to the next part of the verse. Umanoim goralenu. How pleasant is my goral, my lottery. Folks, you've won the lottery. We've all won the lottery. What does that mean? We all have a portion in God. Is that the lottery? Well, the portion in God is something that equalizes us, because we all have, so to speak, an equal portion. Meaning we all have the mitzvah, so we all have an equal portion. There's one Torah, one law. So every Jew is obliged to learn Torah, to fulfill mitzvahs, and therefore there's an equality there. Now, nevertheless, even though there's an equality, there is also something distinctive between each and every one of us that radiates us when we do a mitzvah, the light of God that radiates us. We're not all the same. We're not all the same in the function that we need to fulfill, that to radiate our soul with the light of God. First of all, some of that depends on the period of time that the reincarnation that you're coming into this world or returning to this world, as reincarnation means that there's a return. And why are we reincarnated? Because we need to rectify something. So we all have something from previous incarnations that we need to rectify. So that's unequal. What I need to rectify and what you need to rectify. Right? Furthermore, that's what we need to rectify. In other words, and that's to meaning, take to heart where your challenges in your life. Where are you particularly challenged? So usually we want to run away from that. But if we recognize, no, in a previous incarnation, I failed in this area, and therefore I'm coming back with this challenge. Ooh, I'm coming back for this challenge. So we got to meet the challenge. Furthermore, our sages say, with what commandment was your father most careful? To which person answered, with the commandment of tzitzis. Now, what does that mean? So in Hebrew, the term is, what is your father's soul most luminous with? In other words, not where are you struggling most with. That was one thing that we need to recognize. The reason why we struggle in a particular area is because in a previous incarnation, we didn't meet the challenge, and now God's giving us the opportunity. But then there is where my soul is more luminous, where I find, this is my gateway. This is where I'm, able to succeed more, where I just feel more elevated. And each one of us is different in that area. Just as the body of the individual, there's all different functionalities of the body, the eye to see, the ear to hear, and so on. Even though you need a complete body, just went to the eye doctor, and I'm still need glasses. Right? Some of us see better, some of us hear better, some of us smell better. I mean, I don't mean what we smell, but we smell. Our sense of smell is better. We all have different greater powers, one over the other, right? Which means that's what I'm more luminous. Metaphorically, that's where I'm more luminous. So for me, at least in my thoughts, I'm, more luminous when it comes to teaching Tanya than where I'd be to teach Talmud, or where I'd be to, I don't know, go around and giving out charity. I don't know, whatever. Just brought that as a, right? um, Whatever you're kind of have a calling for, your soul is, responds to more. You have more of a sense of connection through that particular mitzvah, right? That transcends actually your intelligence. It's not coming from your intelligence. It's not coming from your heart. Where's that coming from? Why does this speak to me more than this mitzvah more than another mitzvah? In the end, we got to fulfill all the mitzvahs, as we just explained, because otherwise the soul comes back if it was lacking something in particular. Right? Yet at the same time, there's something that speaks to me more. That's called a lottery. God decided to give you something in your life that will be more luminous to your soul, will be more the path that you will need to take in order to be connected to God and to fulfill what God wants of you. That's our lottery, meaning it's beyond us. It's not because we chose, I chose Tanya. Someone else chose being very charitable. That's not how it works. We didn't choose it. It chose us. God chose it. That for whatever reason he has, that this should talk to me more. And that's our lottery. And which means it becomes the gateway and how to serve God. I've got to fulfill all the other commandments nonetheless. It's not that, I'm going to stick to this part in my life because this talks to me. And the others, mitzvahs, not so much. So maybe Tanya talks to me. So charity, I'm not going to be so engaged in. Or if someone's more charitable, that's where that talks to them, that fills their soul very much so. Learning Torah, not so much. Right? Not so much. We've got to do both and all of it, right? As we explained by the reincarnation. Yet, at the same time, there's going to be a gateway that is going to be something more luminous, that if mine is Tanya, so the charity will go together with it. The other mitzvahs will go together with it that maybe are not as luminous to me, not as moving to me as would be. Right. Okay. See, and that's the conclusion of the seventh letter. I saw some questions. Make sure you put a question mark before. Question, please. We had a wonderful TRC yesterday. Um, okay. Yohanan. Is it true that some people incarnate knowing their past lives? I don't know. Only holy people would know that. Only holy people, real spiritual, lofty souls would know that. So I for sure don't know that. Um, Vicky, so is it preordained how many times we reincarnate? No, because if it's preordained, that means we didn't have choice. We have choice. So, so that which we struggle with is an indication, and continuously struggling with is an indication that that's somewhere that we need to work with. So if you worked on it, then perhaps you're not going to come back then. Okay. Is there hell in Judaism? Is there? It's called Gehenna. There's Gehenna in Judaism, yes. Okay, amazing. Folks, Rambam is coming up, and thank you for joining and making this journey a great gateway. Right. Definitely what is luminous to my soul, and that you participate in the journey together with me. Although I might be teaching and you may be gaining from, hopefully, that you're gaining from the teachings. At the same time, this is my gateway that everything passes through. It's what is luminous to my soul, and that you're part of this, and actually, in a sense, helping me, which is an amazing thing that this way we help each other. Rambam coming up. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you with Chabad Zurich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you